Good morning, financial algebra. We are going to go over 10.5. So 10.5 is on investment diversification. The first page of this book goes over the different kinds of investments or stocks, bonds, CDs, collectibles. There's lots of ways to invest your money. So I'm going to jump right in. Number 1. Rob is retiring from his teaching job, his annual pension. So annual, remember, that's what he gets in a year. He will receive every year until he dies. However, he has a choice to make. If he agrees to take a 10% reduction in his pension, his wife can continue to receive the pension until she dies. So what's the amount of the reduced annual pension? So it would be the $84,500 times 10%. Sorry. Let's do it all at once in our calculator. It'd be the original amount minus 10%, so 0.10 times 84,500. And so I get $76,050 because I subtracted 10%. If he lives 10 years after retirement and receives the full, how much will he have received in total? So 84,500 times 10 years would mean that he would receive in full $845,000. If he lives 20 years and takes the reduced pension, and then his wife lives 11 years, so Rob is 20, she's 11, how much will the pension have paid in total? And we're talking about the reduced. So the amount from Part A, so 76,050 times 31 years gives me a total of, they will have paid him, the two of them, $2,357,550. If Rob lives 6 years after retirement and then dies, and he took the reduced pension, how much less did he receive than if he took the $84,550? So let's compare it. Let's say he took $84,500 for 6 years. We're looking for the difference minus if he took the reduced amount for 6 years. So what's the difference if he takes the full versus the reduced retirement? And the difference is $50,000. Now, how many years would his wife have to live to collect more than what he sacrificed? So the amount of that's being reduced. So let's find that 10%. So he has a choice to make. If he takes 10% less, 84,500 times 0.10 is $8,450. Okay, so how many years would it take for that reduction to be worth it? So $84,550 is the amount it's being reduced by per year. When will that equal the difference in what he would receive, is what they're asking. So I would divide by that reduction, and I get 6 years. So if she lives 6 years past that, anything more than that, it will have made up for the difference in what he's receiving. Next. So this is comparing investments. Some investments are riskier than others. And so the book goes over things that are risky, things that are safe. And so I don't know if this is in your homework. I think there's one similar. Which investment in Diane's portfolio do you think is the most risky? CDs, bonds, those are all three of these are pretty safe. I would say collectibles, because you don't know exactly how much they're going to be worth or if some things are going to be in more demand than others. Which is Jack's riskiest? In the book, it talks about speculative stocks and how those are the riskiest because they're newer, you don't really know how much they're going to get back. So it does mention in the book that those are risky. Whose is most risky? Like I said, bonds, CDs, and preferred stocks are pretty safe. So Jack's is definitely more risky. out of the eight different types of investment, which one is the safest? And the book talks about bonds being the safest. So if it asks you a question like that, you have it. So Kim is planning to set up $90,000 portfolio. She wants to invest 30% into stock, 30% into bonds, and 30% into collectibles. The remainder is a 10-year certificate of deposit. Certificate of deposit is a CD. That's what it means. So how much is invested in the CD? Well, I have 100% minus 30, minus 30, minus 30. I get 10%. So 0.10 times 90,000 is there is $9,000 invested in the certificate of deposit. If the CD earns 2.25% interest compounded continuously. So I'm going to go down here for part B. The formula for continually compounded interest is the amount of your account equals your initial deposit times E to the rate times the number of years. So how much is in her account if she invests that $9,000, the CD, times E? It says her rate is 0.0225, and it says 10 years, so times 10. I'm going to fix that so this can actually be read, and we are going to type that into our calculators. So 9,000, shift E to the 0.0225 times 10, and I get $11,270.90. So that is the answer here. The amount in her account will be $11,270.90. Part C, the same amount is invested in stocks as in collectibles. If the stock goes down 10 and the collectibles gain 10, what is the net gain? So I have a positive 10% and a minus 10%, sorry, this is part C, and a minus 10%. So my net gain is 0 because one went up and one went down. So they wash each other out. Next. So number 4, and we're going to be using an old formula. So here is a family that wants to set up a college fund for their 1-year-old daughters. They plan on investing $4 each year per child. So we're going to do part A down here, and I'm going to write goes over. This is our formula. So our balance, if we do a periodic deposit, is 1 plus our rate divided by n to the n times t minus 1 divided by our rate over n. This is our future value of periodic investment formula. Okay, so this is a formula we covered a million sections ago, and we're going to use it in part A. So in part A, what is the balance if my investment is $4,000 per year times 1 plus, it says 3% compounded annually. So that's 0.03 divided by 1 to the, I have 1 times 17, and minus 1, all over 0.03 divided by 1. And I don't need to put point divided by 1 in our calculator. That's kind of silly. So here we go, 4,000. I have 2 parentheses. 1 plus 0.03. I don't need to divide by 1. To the, I do need to put 17. 1 times 17 is 17 minus 1, and then close out the parentheses. I get 2611.39 divided by 0.03. So leave what's in your calculator, and I'm just going to put divided by 0.03. And I have that each child will have $87,400 $87,046.35. Would investing the money in a stock that had a yield of 5% earn more money than the CD? Yes, because greater percentage. What are the advantages and disadvantages of investing money in stock? Stock changes all the time. It is much more risky. So you can have a huge gain or you can have a huge loss. And so it's risky because all of a sudden it's earning 5%, then 1%, then 12%. Then so it's more risky, but you also could make a lot more. Number 5. Charlotte invested $120,000 and she diversified. She put 33%, so that would be 0.33 times 120,000. So she invested $39,600 into stocks. She invested 42% of that money into bonds, which is $50,400. And she invested 25% into real estate, which is $30,000. Okay? If the stocks increased 9%, so it's an increase. The bonds increased 8%, it's 0.08, but the real estate lost 0.05. So I'm going to change these. I got an 9%, got an 8% gain, but I lost 5%. So to calculate this, there are two different ways. You could multiply these by these percentages and add them together, but they want the total monetary, so they want the amount that was gained. You could also, so you can do this two ways, or what's 0.09 of the 33%, what's 0.8 of the 42%, and what's 0.05 of the 0.25. And then I will add these two and subtract this one. So this gives me 0.09 times 0.33. I get 0.0297. 0.08 times 0.42 is 0.0336. And 0.05 times 0.25, I get 0.0125. So, this was a gain. The second one was a gain. The last one I lost. And so that gives me a net percentage of 0.0508. So I had a 5, I'm going to make that a percent, 5.0% gain. That would be the percent gain. They want a monetary. So what is 0.0508 of the amount of total money she invested? And this is the method that the book went over. So she would have gained a total of $6,096 net gain. So that is one way to do it. It is the way the book went over it. I didn't even need to do this. This would be the other method, but if you want, you can break it down. Last one. So this is a really cool example going over what would be the beneficial for us. So this talks about a guy that invests in, he buys a car and fixes it up every year, and then he goes to sell it. Sorry, let me change my notes. Really quick because I messed up. 61. All right, so this example is going to gain. Is it better for us to buy something or put money into investments? So he buys a Chevrolet for $22,000. Over the next 31 years, he invests approximately $750 per year into restoring the car. In 2016, he sells it. So in part A, imagine he chose not to invest in the car, and instead he invests the $22,000 in an account that pays 9.11% compounded daily for 10 years. So let's go down here and do part A. So I have the amount he invested is $22,000 times 1 plus his rate, so 0.0911, divided by 365 days. And again 365, but times his 31. Oh, whoops, it just says for the next 10 years. Okay, now I'm getting this formula. This is a one-time investment formula. So this is not where you're like in the girls' college account, he was adding money every year. This is a one-time investment formula, which is just A equals the amount you invest, 1 plus the rate divided by how often it compounds to the n times t. Okay, so if I enter this in my account, in my calculator, I get 22,000, 1 plus my rate divided by 365 to the parentheses 365 times 10. I get that I would have $54,703.56. So I'm going to record that in part A. He would have $54,703.56. Okay? So remember, in this part, he invested 22. In B, interest rates start to fall, so he takes that money out and he invests it in a CD that only paid 4% compounded daily for the remaining 21 years. So I'm now taking the amount I earned in part A, so $54,703.56 times 1 plus, but now I'm only earning 4%. This stays 65. This is 365, but he said for the remaining 21 years. And so I'm going to take this amount times 1 plus 0.04 divided by 365 to the, and in parentheses, 365 times 21. So now I have $126,707.69. So for part B, I now have $126,707.69. In part C, if he deposited, so this is looking at all the different scenarios. Let's say he deposited $750 each year into an account that paid $4.09. How much would be in that account? So the first two scenarios is what he did with that initial cost of the car. So instead of buying a car, what if he had put it in stocks? And then after stock, or put it into an account. And then he put it into a CD. And this is saying instead of investing $750 into the repairs of the car, let's look at how much he could have made if he just deposited $750 into an account. So C would be periodic, right, investments. So C would be he deposits $750 each year, parentheses, 1 plus, and this is annually, so 0.0409 divided by 1 because it's annually, 31 years minus 1 divided by 0.0409 over 1, but like we said earlier, we don't need the over 1. So if I enter this into my calculator, I get $45,198.20. So for part C, I have $45,198.20. How much gain would the three accounts from parts A, B, and C make in the 31 years to the nearest $100? So, So from part A and B, remember for part A, he took this money and put it into this account. So I have $126,000 in part B plus the $45,000 from part C minus the amount I invested. So this was the initial amount. This is the initial investment. So how much does he gain? I have that he gains $149,905.89. So I put that he gains about $150,000. Now, how much did he invest in the Nomad? Well, he paid $22,000 for it, and then for the next 31 years, he paid $750 in repairs. So he invested $45,255 into the car. How much did he gain? Well, he sold it for $61,000, but that's not money he made. He spent. You always have to take into account the money you invested in it. So he only made a gain of $15,750. So which was better, for him to invest it in CDs and accounts or him to spend money on the car? Much better investment to put money into an account than buying a car. And so that is what that wanted to go over. Always think about the money you're spending versus the money that you could be making by investing your money somewhere. And that ends this section.